We are now starting a new session. We hope that you are enjoying and gaining knowledge after completing every session. PHP, as we know, is a server-based language that helps in adding functionalities to your web page. Here, in this session, you will learn more about PHP, its features, and new capabilities. It begins with a detailed description of PHP loops such as while, for each, and others. Next, you learn about the syntaxes and examples of a few types of PHP loops. Then, you learn about the break and continue statements with their relative syntaxes and examples. It then explains the steps of using different loops with a practical example. After this, you learn about PHP arrays and their different types such as indexed, associative, and multidimensional. Following this, you learn about the coded syntaxes and examples of PHP arrays. It finally ends with an example explaining the detailed steps of using different types of PHP arrays. Hence, PHP is a really useful language for you to create a responsive web page.
Now in this session we will see the loop statements or looping. In PHP or in any language, loops are used to execute the same block of code again and again as long as a certain condition is true. That is, whenever we want to repeat the same statements or number of statements many times, so we use loops for that purpose. So let's start with the loops. There are various types of loops used in PHP. So first is while loop, second do while loop, third for loop, and fourth for each loop. So let's start with the while loop. So this is the syntax for while loop. While condition is true, code to be executed. So this code in between the curly brackets will execute up till the condition is true. That is, while we are checking the condition, while this condition is true, then this code will be executed that many times. The code will stop executing after the condition gets false. So let's see an example. So here in this example we are declaring a variable with the value of 1. Now we are checking the condition while 1 is less than equal to 5. So this block of code will execute until this condition will get failed. So we are checking now 1 is less than equal to 5. This condition is true, then it will print the number is the value of x, that is 1. Then again it will increment that value by 1, that is now it come to the x is equal to 2. The value will be incremented by 1. Now again it will check whether 2 is less than equal to 5. If true, then it will print the block. Then again it will increment the value of x. Now it will be 3. Now it will check whether 3 is less than equal to 5. So this block will continue up to 5. Once the value of x, that is value of x is 6, then this condition will get false and the counter will come out of the loop. So let's move to the next point, do while loop. So this is the syntax for do while loop. In a do while loop, first the block will be executed and after that condition is checked. So whenever we are going to execute the block of code at least once, even if the condition is false, then we use do while loop. So let's see an example. Here I am declaring a value of x is equal to 1. It will print the value of x is equal to 1, and after that it will check whether x, that is 1, is less than equal to 5. If this condition is true, then again it will come to the do part and will execute again value of x. So that is how do while loop execute. So next part is for loop. So this is the syntax for loop. In a for loop, first we initialize the counter, then we will test condition or test counter, and after that increment or decrement variable or operator used. If this condition is true, then the block of this code will execute. Let's see an example for the for loop. So this is the example. Here I am declaring x is equal to 0, that is the initialize counter. X is less than equal to 10, this is the condition for the for loop, and this is the increment counter, that is x is equal to x plus plus, that is the increment counter. If x is less than equal to 10, this condition is true, then and only then the block of code will execute. So next part, break and continue statement. Break statement can be used to jump out of a loop or switch statement. In a switch statement, we have used break statement. So whenever the condition is true, then it will come. When we use a break statement or break keyword, it will jump out from the loop or statement. So this is the example for break statement. For x is equal to 0, x less than 10, x plus plus. And now again in the for loop, I am checking one condition. If x is double equal to 4, then it will break that loop and the counter will jump out of the loop. That is why we use break condition. Next, continue statement. Continue statement breaks one iteration. So let's see an example. Here in the same example, in the for loop, if condition is double equal to 4, then it will continue, means it will break the iteration 4 so that it will not print number 4 in the output. So I'll show in the example how actually it is work. So let's start with the examples. Let's start with the while loop. So this is the program for while loop. We'll check an output now. So this is my output. Number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why? Because here we are checking whether x is less than equal to 5. So this will iterate 5 times up till the condition will get failed. So this is the example of while loop. Let's see an example of do while loops. Do block. And in a do while loop, when we finished with the while loop, we use a semicolon to terminate a loop. So this is the example of do while loop. Let's run it. Here I am getting the same output. Now we will change this output. So I am declaring the value of x is 6 now. Let's refresh it. The number is 6. Why? Because once we declare the value of 6, it will come to the do block. It will print the value of x, and then after that it will check the condition whether that condition is true or false. If this condition is false, the counter will not go to the do part, it will directly come out of the loop. That is why we use do loop to execute at least one a do part. So this is the example of do while statement. Let's see the next part, that is a for loop. So here I am declaring for. So this is the for loop. We'll check an output. So this is my output. It will print number from 0 to 10. Why? Because we are declaring it. Value of x is 0 and it will iterate up to the 10. That is why it is showing an output like this. So let's use a break statement in it. So let's check a break statement here in this. If $x is double equal to 4, then it should break. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my output. Why? Because once it comes to this condition, x is double equal to 4, then it will break that loop or counter will come out of the loop. That is why it will not go to this statement once this condition is true. That is how we use break statement. Let's use a continue statement. So this is the output of a continue statement. If you observe, then it is not showing the result of 4, that is 0, 1, 2, 3. Directly it comes to the 5. Why? Because here I am using continue statement. When to use continue statement? When we want to skip one iteration, that is it will skip the iteration of 4. For that purpose we use continue statements. So this is the examples of while loop, do while loop, for loop and continue and break statements. Now in this session we will see the arrays in PHP. Array is a special variable which can hold more than one value at a time. That is, a normal variable stores a single value in a variable. What if I want to store the multiple or more than one values in a single variable? So at that time I can use an array. You can access the values by referring to an index number. When we store these multiple values in an array, so we can access those values by its index number. So array stores that values and each value represents one index number. It starts with the 0, that is first value which have index number 0, second value which will have index number 1, likewise. Types of array. There are 3 types of arrays. Indexed array, array with a numerical or numeric index. When we store the values in an array, we can access those values by its index. Second, associative array, array with named keys. In associative array, we can access the values by its keys. So instead of index, here associative array uses the keys. Multidimensional array, arrays containing one or more arrays. Suppose we want to show the data in the matrix form, then at that time we use multidimensional array. So let's start with the indexed array. There are 2 ways to create an indexed array. First, index can be assigned automatically. Here we are creating an array, that is the name student is the array name, and Sumit Ajay student of 0, that is the index number, student of 0 and its value is Sumit. Student of 1 value is Ajay, and student of 2, that value is Balaji. So 0, 1 and 2 are the index of array. So this is the representation of indexed array. So student is the array name and we are storing 3 values in that array. First value is Sumit and its index number is 0. Second value is Ajay and its index number is 1. And third value is Balaji and its index number is 2. Let's see an example. So this is the array that stores the three values Sumit, Ajay and Balaji. So we can access those values by its index number, that is student of 0. It will access first value. Student of 1, it will access second value, and student of 3, it will access third value. So this is the index array. Now associative array. There are two ways to create associative array. First way, that is age. Instead of index, here we are using a key and its value. The key represents a value, that is Sumit is the key and 35 is the value. Ajay is the key, 37 is the value. Balaji is the key and 43 is a value. This is the first method and this is the second method. In this method here, instead of, in the last index array we see here 0, 1, 2. Now here instead of index we are using Sumit, Ajay and Balaji. These are the keys, and 35, 37, 43, these are the values respectively. Let's see a representation of associative array. So this is the array age, which will store three values, that is Sumit is the key and 35 is the value. Ajay is the key and 37 is the value. Balaji is the key and 43 is the value. So now let's move to the example. So here I am accessing the values of age array, age and Sumit. Sumit is the key. Now I am accessing those values using key. So next part, multi-dimensional array. Store values with more than one key. An array containing one or more arrays. So this is the representation of 3 by 3 matrix. We are storing the values name, age and percentage of the students in 3 by 3 matrix. So here column 1, column 2 and column 3, row 1, row 2 and row 3. We are going to store the values in row 1, column 1, row 1, column 2, row 1, column 3. Likewise, that is the first value will be stored in first row, first column. Second value, first row, second column. Third value, first row, third column. Fourth value, second row, first column. Fifth value, second row, fifth column. Sixth value, second row, third column. Seventh value, third row, first column. Eighth value, third row, second column, and last value, third row, third column. So this is the example how it will store the data in a multi-dimensional array. So now let's see the examples of each. So we'll start with the index array. So this is the program for index array. Let's check an output. So this is my output. Student list is Sumit, Ajay. What's wrong here? Sumit, Ajay and Balaji. We'll write it again. Let's run again. So this is the output, Sumit, Ajay and Balaji. So this is the output of the indexed array. So let's move to the associative array. So this is the program for associative array. Let's check the output. Sumit is 35 years old. This is the output of my program. So let's see the multidimensional array. So this is my output for multidimensional array. So I am representing these values in 3 by 3 matrix, that is 0 of 0, that is first row, first column, first row, second column, first row, third column, likewise. So these are the programs for arrays.
Do you know why PHP is still used so widely?
Yes, PHP was the first server-side language that was embedded into HTML, and that's why it is easier to add functionality to a website's web pages without needing external databases. It has evolved over the years, adding new features and new capabilities, and most importantly, it is easy to learn and free to use.
Hope you are enjoying your journey of learning. Practice well and make this journey more interesting. Let's start a new session now. When looking to create a highly functional web page, web designers often depend on many programming languages. One such server-based language that is embedded in HTML is PHP. This session first speaks of PHP functions and their types such as PHP built-in functions and PHP user-defined functions. Next, it explains the types of PHP functions with proper syntaxes and examples. After this, you learn how to use these PHP functions with the help of a practical example. Then, you learn about superglobals and predefined variables such as $globals, $_get, $_post, and more. Subsequently, you learn about the steps of using these predefined functions with an example. Eventually, the session ends with a detailed description of PHP forms, the detailed coded steps of form handling and validation process, and form required fields. So languages like PHP make your work easier and help you to create interactive web pages that visitors will love to see.
Now in this session we will see the functions and its types. PHP built-in functions. PHP has over 1000 built-in functions that can be called directly from within a script to perform a specific task. Built-in functions are predefined in PHP, so we have to just call that function into a PHP code. There are many built-in functions like math functions, string functions, date and time functions, and main functions. PHP user-defined functions. Suppose user want to perform his own specific task, then he can write his own function, that is we called as user defined function. That function has created by a user. PHP built-in functions. So we see some examples in built-in functions, that is string length. This is the first example. It will return a length of a string. So let's see an example. So here I am using in the simple program hello world, and we are counting the length, that is 12 for this string. Next function, string word count. This function will return the number of words in a string. So here in this example hello world, the output is 2 because the string contains only 2 words. String reverse function, this function will return output as a reverse string of the original string. PHP user defined functions. Function is a block of statement that can be used repeatedly in a program. Once we write a function, we can call it many times in a program to perform a specific task, that is called a function. Function will not execute automatically when a page loads. When a page loads, function will not execute. We have to call that function by its name. That is, function will be executed by a call to the function. We have to call that function, then and only then the function will execute. Create a user defined function. Function declaration start with the word function. To write a function, we have to use word function. Function name must start with a letter or an underscore. So this is the syntax for function, user defined function. Here we are using a word function, and here we are using the function name, and in the curly bracket we have to write our code that we want to be executed. So this is the syntax of user defined function. Let's see an example of user defined function. So here I am writing a function name as write message, and in that I want to execute the code hello world. So I write a function, and here I am calling that function, that is write message. So when I call this function, it will go to this function and execute this code, that my output will come as hello world. So this is my user defined function. So let's start with the examples of functions. First we will use some user defined functions. So this is the function which will return the length of a string. So let's check an output. So this is 11 is the output, because this string contained 11 characters. Next we will see this is my second built-in function. Let's check an output. So the output is 2 because this function contains only 2 words, that is hello and world. Next we will see, so this is the output for reverse string. Now we will write a user defined function. Let's run. So here I am writing a function with the name of write message, and here I'm calling that function. Once we call this function, it will come to this point and it will execute this code. So my output will come as hello world. So let's check. So this is my output for the user defined function. So we'll write another function. So this is the user defined function in which we are passing a parameter to this function. So it will print when we call this function, it will take first name, that is this name or this word, and it will print here that word and followed by Yadav. So let's check an output. So this is the output of my user defined function. So in this way we can write user defined functions and we can use a built-in functions in a PHP program. In this section we will see the superglobals. Some predefined variables in PHP are superglobals, which means that they are always accessible regardless of scope, and you can access them from any function, class or file. So let's see which are those. First, globals. Global is a PHP superglobal variable which is used to access global variables from anywhere in the PHP script. PHP stores all global variables in an array called globals. The index holds the name of the variable. So this is the global variables. Next, server. Server is a super global variable which holds information about headers, paths and scripts location. Third, get. Get is a PHP super global variable which is used to collect form data after submitting an HTML form with method get. Get method can also collect data sent in a URL. So I'll show in an example how it is. Next, post. Post is a super global variable which is used to collect data from form after submitting an HTML form with method post. Post method is widely used in PHP to pass variables. So let's see an examples of or a programs of super globals one by one. So let's start with the global. Here I have written a function as addition. In that we use globals, and when I call this addition function, it will redirect to the addition function and it will return a result. So let's run this program. So this is the output of my global variable. Next, we'll see a next program, server. So this is the program for server. So it will return the server information. Let's run. So this is my output, global of the server. Now let's write a program for get. So before running that program, we have to create this file server.php. because I am giving a local address. So this is my program. Let's check. So this is the output. When I click on test get, it will redirect me to the server.php file. Now let's see an example for post method. So this is my program for post method. So here I forgot. So this is my output. Again I will refresh it. So these are the programs for super globals. We'll see you in next part.
Forms are used to add another level of interactivity to your web pages, to allow communication between your viewers and your website, to gather information, and to offer different means of navigation.
Are you aware of the technical terms or concepts of web development? Can you tell me what languages mean in coding terms?
Yes, the languages in coding are kinds of computer languages that are used by programmers to build something or to communicate something. Various types of programming languages are HTML, JavaScript, PHP, Python, and Java. These are some of the easiest languages to start coding with.